So what we've got to do is make that change in those standards. That's where the shifts happen. It doesn't happen any other place. And I'll give you a very simple example. If you want to know the difference in people's lives, it all comes down to what are the things that are musts for you versus shoulds. So let me tell you this. We said to have an extraordinary life, you got to have an extraordinary psychology, right? Extraordinary psychology means you got to live in an extraordinary state. To be in an extraordinary state, you got to condition your nervous system, your body, your physiology and focus to be at their best. Do you agree with this? Yes or no? Then to do that, though, you can do that. Why doesn't everybody? Not because you can't. We all have the ability. It's because of our standards. I remember a time early in my career, I was about 24, and I went to do a seminar in Boston. And in those days, a big seminar for me was like 125 people. And it was a 3-day seminar, and we worked around the clock, and people made such extraordinary changes in their life. And at the end of it, I was feeling so fulfilled. I was thinking, my God, I'm 24, maybe 25 at the time. And I am so happy because I have found my mission in life. I'm doing what I love. It's making a difference in people's lives. This is extraordinary. So we finished about midnight on the Sunday night. And around midnight, I'm still wound up, so I don't feel like going to bed. So I decided, okay, let me take a walk here. And I decided to go through Copley Square. If you've been through Copley Square, it's a pretty neat place. Because in Copley Square, you can look up and you can see buildings that were here before we were known as the United States. And beside them, you see skyscrapers that are new. It's a pretty cool place. So I'm walking around midnight on Sunday night. There's nobody in Copley Square midnight on Sunday night. And I'm walking along, and I see this guy in the distance, and he's kind of stumbling back and forth between the gutter and the sidewalk. He's got a long trench coat on, his head's down like this. He's holding a brown bag, and I can start to smell him even before I get there, and I'm thinking, this guy's obviously drunk. And as I started to get closer, I thought, I bet he's going to beg me for some money. And sure enough, whatever you focus on life tends to happen, doesn't it? So sure enough, he gets real close to me, and I thought all of a sudden he wasn't going to do it, and all of a sudden he popped his head up. It was really weird. He went, "Mister!" He had this really bizarre looking sounding voice. He went, "Mister, could you loan me a quarter?" And I thought, do I want to reward this behavior? And then I thought, I don't want him to suffer. Do you have this dilemma sometimes? Like, I'm not here to judge. So years ago, I finally decided I always just give. Even if the person's pulling a scam, that's for them to deal with. If I have the ability, then I give. And so I thought, but could I teach him something? So I asked him a question back. I said, is that all you want is a quarter? So he goes, yeah, just one quarter. One quarter changed my whole life. One quarter. I said, really? He said, yeah, one quarter. So I reached in my pocket, and I pulled out my money clip. And in those days, I was very young, just starting to succeed. And my original mentor was a man named Jim Rohn. I don't know, how many have heard of Jim Rohn? Anybody? Yeah, he's a great guy. And Jim told me, he said, Tony, look, you've come from a poor background. You got a poor psychology. You got to change it. He said, you don't have any money, so pretend you do. He said, start training your brain. Condition it. He said, go save all your money, get $300 bills, and put them on the outside of your money clip, even though you only have $5 in between them. So every time you put it out, you'll see that. You'll feel inspired. You'll feel better. He said, and you'll feel better, you'll do better. So I was like, okay. So I did. So I pulled my money clip, and sure enough, I got $300 bills in. I made sure he saw the bills. So I'm tearing through that, right? Looking in between there to see if I can find some change. But I made sure he saw it. Sure enough, he's looking at the $100 bills, checking it out. I find the quarter, I pull it out, take the money, put it in my pocket. I notice he's watching my hand going into the pocket. I took the quarter, and I looked at him, and I said, sir, life will pay any price you ask of it. And I gave him the quarter. And then something really interesting happened. He took the quarter. He looked at the quarter. He looked at me. He looked at my pocket. He looked back at the quarter, looked at me, looked at my pocket, looked at me again, looked at the quarter, looked at my pocket, looked back at me and said, you're weird. And then he shuffled on off like this, right? And I thought to myself, wow, what's the difference between him and me? I mean, I was 24, 25 at the time, doing what I love most, have my mission in life, and he's in his early 60s, drunk on the street, begging for quarters. What's the difference? And I thought, well, maybe God's blessed me because I'm such a good person. I thought, and he's such a bad person, that's such bull. And I thought, wow, maybe the answer to that question is what I just told him. Life will pay whatever price you ask of it. But you know what's interesting? You got to ask intelligently. In the Bible it says, ask and you shall what? Yeah, pretty good formula. You ought to look into it. But you know what? It says, ask and you shall receive, but I'm sure it meant ask intelligently. I'm sure that's what God meant. I'm sure he didn't mean bitch and you will receive. Whine and you will receive. I don't think that was the instruction. Now, if you were going to ask intelligently, there might be 5 elements of that. Number one, you'd have to ask specifically, wouldn't you? You wouldn't ask in a general way. People do that all the time. They go, I want more money. Fine, here's $1, get out of here. Very often, you're getting what you're asking for. You're just not aware of how general you're asking. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about exactly what it is you want, the more your brain knows how to get there. Your brain is a servo mechanism. It's like a bomb. Those bombs, those missiles, they have a servo mechanism. So if the target moves, it knows what the target is, it follows it. Your brain, when you condition it, knows exactly what to go for and it'll find a way to get there. Did you ever buy a certain outfit or a certain car and suddenly see that car outfit everywhere? How many of you have had that experience? Say, aye. How come that car outfit's everywhere? It always was everywhere, but now you notice it. And the reason is because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS. That part of your brain determines what you notice and what you don't notice. Your brain spends most of its time trying to make sure you don't notice because you'll go crazy if you notice everything. But when you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. Everyone I know who's successful builds what I call an RPM plan. An RPM is built on the metaphor that the way to get from where you are to where do you want to go to the fastest is you got to build power, like in a car, RPMs. And the R stands for they know the result they're after. They know what they want precisely. If you don't know exactly what you want or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? If you can't answer that question right now in your personal life, in your body, in your relationships, in your finances, in your spirituality, then you're not going to be as fulfilled as you want to be. Today we're going to have you answer one of those questions at least. The second part of it, you got to know P, why you're doing it. Because you know what? You may get a big goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up. And unless you've got enough emotional drive to break through that, you're never going to discover what it really takes. So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. This man did not know what he wanted. He did not have enough reasons. To ask intelligently, you got to ask specifically. To ask intelligently, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. And the M is, what is your massive action plan? What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work. So asking intelligently requires that. So if we're going to be extraordinary in our results, we've got to be in an extraordinary state. We've got to know what we want and we've got to go use it.
Goals. The problem, as I've said before in this program, is that we're unconscious in the use of our resources. Most people's goals are to, quote, pay the lousy bills, or to get by, or to survive, or get out of debt, or make it through the day, make the relationship a little better, get a better job. In short, they're caught up in the trap of making a living rather than designing a life. Remember that our goals affect us whatever they are. If we don't consciously plant the seeds of what we want in the gardens of our minds, we'll end up with weeds. If we want to discover the unlimited possibilities within us, we must find a goal big enough and grand enough to challenge us to push beyond our limits and discover our true potential. Remember that your current conditions do not reflect your ultimate potential, but rather the size and the quality of the goals upon which you're currently focusing. We all must discover or create a magnificent obsession. You might be thinking right now, well, this all sounds so inspirational, but surely setting a goal doesn't make it happen. You know what? I couldn't agree with you more. All goal setting must immediately be followed by the development of a plan and with massive and consistent action towards its fulfillment. You already have this power to act. If you haven't been able to summon it, at least up until now, it's merely because you failed to set goals that inspire you. What's holding you back? Do you have a list of clearly defined goals for the results that you will absolutely produce in your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially? If not, what stopped you? What has stopped some people is the unconscious fear of disappointment. Is that true for you? See, a lot of people have set goals in the past and they failed to achieve them, so they stopped setting goals to avoid the pain. Many people give up too soon on their goals because they're not getting the immediate positive feedback they think they need. One of the consistent skills I've seen in champions, people who really achieve their highest desires, is this unbelievable level of persistence. They'll change their approach as many times as necessary, but they won't abandon their ultimate vision. What we're going to do now is take the first step in turning the invisible into the visible, making your dreams a reality. By the time we're finished, you'll have created for yourself an anticipation so great, a future so compelling, that you can't help but take the first steps today. We'll be covering 4 areas. 1, personal development goals. 2, our career, business, and economic goals. 3, our adventure goals. I like to call some of these our toy goals. And 4, our contribution goals. For each of these areas, you'll be doing brainstorming for a set period of time where you'll be writing down everything you can think of. Remember to keep the ideas flowing, keep your pen moving, and don't censor yourself. Let everything, every fantasy come out. Constantly ask yourself, what would I want for my life if I knew I could have it any way I wanted it? What would I go for if I knew I could not fail? And then don't worry about how you're going to accomplish these goals. Do this without questioning or doubting your capabilities. You first have to get the inspiration out, then you find out how to make it work. Finally, don't waste any time getting overly specific. You don't need to put down, I want a split-level house on Nob Hill in San Francisco with all-white contemporary furniture and a Victorian rose garden. Just write something down like Dream House, Big Garden, SF. You can fill in the details later. Okay, right now, get some paper and put yourself in a state of mind of absolute faith and total expectation. The expectation that you can create anything you want. Again, imagine you're a kid and it's Christmas Eve. The whole world, anything you can imagine, is yours for the asking. Be a kid again. Give yourself that freedom to explore the possibilities of life without limits. Start with your personal goals. Write down everything you'd like to achieve in your life that relates to your own personal growth. Things that you'd like to learn, limitations you want to overcome, ways you'd like to improve your body, your spirituality, your relationship goals. These can be short-term or long-term, things you want to do this week or 20 years from now. Write these down for a minimum of 5 minutes and don't stop writing at any time. Stop the tape right now and do this. Please don't just listen. Your life will not change by listening. Your life changes by action. That's the essence of personal power. Now that you've done this for at least 5 minutes, take another minute right now and go back and give yourself a timeline for each and every goal. Now, again, don't even think about how you're going to do it or how you're going to achieve or create the goal. Just write down when you want to achieve it by or within. Remember, goals are dreams with a deadline. The simple act of deciding when you'll achieve a goal by sets in motion conscious and even unconscious forces to make your goals a reality. So if you're committed to accomplishing a goal within 1 year or less, just write a 1 next to it. If you want to get it done within 3 years, put a 3. If it's 5 years, a 5, 10, a 10, or within 20 years, write a 20. Take a moment and do this now. Finally, choose your single most important 1-year goal in this category, a goal that would give you tremendous excitement if you were to accomplish it in this year. Pick something that will inspire you, get you up early and keep you up late, and give your life more juice. Something that will make you feel like if you accomplished this goal in this year, your life was well invested. Take 2 minutes now to write a paragraph about why you're absolutely committed to achieving this goal within 1 year. Why is this compelling to you? What will you gain by achieving it? What will you miss out on if you don't achieve it? And make sure you notice that these reasons are strong enough to make you actually follow through consistently. If not, either come up with a better goal or some better reasons. Take the time to do this now. Now that you've finished this 3-stage action on your personal development goals, let's go on to the next category, your career, your business, and economic goals. On a new sheet of paper, spend at least 5 minutes writing nonstop about all the things you want to achieve in these areas. How much money do you want to make in a year or in your lifetime? What career goals do you have? What are your investment goals? What are your money management goals? How much do you want to be able to spend on travel and adventure, on your kids' education, on your own toys? What professional breakthroughs would you like to make? What kind of impact do you really want to have? Then take a minute to give a timeline to every goal, just as you did before. Now the third category of your goals, your toys and adventure goals. Once again, on a new sheet of paper, spend at least 5 minutes brainstorming about what you'd like to build or create or purchase. What would be sheer fun and enjoyment for you? Would you like to own a castle, a beach house, a helicopter, a music studio, an art collection, a private zoo, a tree house? Write down places you'd like to go, events you'd like to attend, things you'd like to do, start a Broadway play, race camels between the pyramids, go one-on-one with Michael Jordan and beat him, sail a yacht around the Greek islands, meditate in a Buddhist monastery, scuba dive in Fiji. Again, let your imagination go free. Give yourself whatever you want in this list. Don't make anything wrong. Then follow up steps 2 and 3. Take 1 minute and put a timeline on each one of these goals, a timeline in which you'll achieve it within, and then pick the number 1-year goal and write a paragraph giving all the compelling, irresistible reasons why you want to achieve this goal within a year. Finally, create your contribution goals. They can be the most inspiring, compelling goals of all because this is really your opportunity to leave your mark, to create a legacy that makes a true difference in people's lives. Take at least 5 minutes to brainstorm how you want to contribute. Maybe you want to help build a shelter for the homeless, or adopt a child, or read to the blind, or volunteer for the Peace Corps. Help clean up the oceans, eliminate discrimination, develop a car that runs on garbage, or make a device that finds lost contact lenses. I don't know, but come up with something that would inspire you in the area of contribution. And as before, give each goal a timeline, then select your top 1-year goal and write a paragraph in 2 minutes explaining why you are absolutely committed to achieving this goal within the next year. So now that you've completed this, you should have 4 master 1-year goals that absolutely excite and inspire you. They should be based on sound, compelling reasons that will drive you forward. How would you feel if you'd mastered and attained all 4 of these within 1 year? See, I can't stress enough the importance of developing strong enough reasons to achieve these goals. Having a powerful and irresistible why will provide you with the necessary how. And now here's an assignment that can help you to condition these goals until they're absolutely real and compelling and consistently drive you for the whole year. From now on, this is your assignment. At least twice a day, you must rehearse and emotionally enjoy the experience of achieving each one of your most highly valued goals. Now, every time you do this, you need to create more emotional joy as you see, feel, and hear yourself living your dream. This continuous focus will literally create a neural pathway between where you are and where you want to go. Because of this intense conditioning, you'll find yourself feeling a sense of absolute certainty that you'll achieve your desires. And this certainly will translate into a quality of